Hello everyone! If you stumbled onto this video, then you are witnessing a G.I. Joeberg channel first. You might know we love our G.I. Joe, but we're also fans of retro gaming. We've been threatening to do this for a while now, but we've finally taken the plunge. Presenting G.I. Joeberg's Longplay Commentary on the 1991 G.I. Joe video game by Taxan for the Nintendo Entertainment System. My name is Steve, and I'm not alone. Joining me is G.I. Joeberg's resident gaming guru, Paul.
Hi.
And we're also joined by the man responsible for this awesome long play, a new friend of ours, Robert Range Viper. Hey, Rob.
Good morning. Hello.
Hello to the people of YouTube. Without further ado, we're going to get stuck straight into this awesome long play of this great game. Anything you'd like to say up front, Rob, before we start?
I just wanted to thank you guys for letting me join you on this playthrough. It's going to be fun.
The pleasure is ours, man. It is such a treat to have this game played through expertly. I mean, I've gotten the privilege of watching you do this long play. Now we're going to be commenting on it. And, man, these are just so many flavors of awesome just rolled into one. G.I. Joe, Nintendo, three best buddies. I mean, what more could you ask for? This is going to be cool. Oh, yes. Taxan. They disappeared, didn't they? Like, shortly after making this game.
They were bought by Capcom.
Okay.
They actually were always a subdivision of Capcom. What happened is, with Nintendo in America, certain developers weren't allowed to make 5 releases a year. So what happened is some companies used to do a sneaky thing where they used to have, like, Capcom and then Taxan as another name for their business, so that they could have 2 separate entities releasing games made by one development house.
Awesome. But what's more awesome are these sprites. I mean, the character selection is fantastic. I mean, they reflect the figures that were available in and around the time. But, Rob, do you have any personal preference?
Well, actually, I like to use all the guys, but Duke was normally the main one until, of course, you get Hawk at the end. But
for sure. And
I think I just like their gun. It wasn't anything about their anything else.
It's cool that they make it look like the XMLR, the sort of the classic Sunbow G.I. Joe laser rifle. At least in that sort of that sprite there, with him holding the binoculars and the gun.
Steven's always believed that is Tiger Force Duke, and I have to agree.
It absolutely is, man. He's just not a brunette.
Yeah. I agree as well. Got the right clothing.
Oh man, the MCC. It's
I just keep thinking it's the General. It's so crazy, but hey, that's just me.
What, the back of that vehicle?
I always used to think it was the General.
Huh.
Okay.
Well, the MCC toy doesn't have a drop-down ramp like that, but the coloring.
General doesn't either, though.
Oh, true.
Oh yeah, here's Snake Eyes trick.
Yeah. This one's great. You have to do this. I actually see you're a laser man up front. I know when I play, I normally run around doing a Super Punch Brothers kind of situation. I'm very like conservative with my ammo.
Orange Hydro Vipers.
I think they changed to purple the next level, but
oh, good idea. Maybe it's just the sort of the color. Yeah, it wouldn't stand out against the green.
There's Nogahide's what's it? Warthog's kid.
Well, that's the fun thing about this game is like it seems to make villains out of the animal companions as well. And as a child, I never used to pay much attention to the included Devil Ray or the Wild Boar accessory. You know, that stuff never got much interest out of me. But playing this game, I'm like, yeah, that stuff is actually part of toy.
Something very sexy about this game that I really love is these Cobra Troopers jumping from the foreground into the playfield. It's something you don't really see in N.E.S. games, and it's something you don't really see in platformers.
Yeah, I don't even know what troop that is. It kind of looks like a Cobra Trooper, but it's got a weird helmet.
Oh, Condor.
Nicely handled, by the way, with that Condor. I mean, I must say, my tactic was always just to throw grenades, but this is a far more savvy way of doing it with the gun.
Oh, I love the little fist bump. Nice.
And this is the game. I mean, I never had much love for the Condor until playing this video game either.
I was just, at the time when I played this game, the only thing I had in this video game was the Condor.
Oh, man.
And the bug. But, spoilers.
So you're a fan of the Range Viper, right? Was it this game that cemented that?
Probably. I mean, he was one of my first characters that I ever got growing up, and then, you know, the first villain, so not being very good at the game as a kid, you end up playing the first level about 1,000 times, so and I could always beat him, so maybe that was part of it.
Okay, yeah, not very good as a kid, or if you're me, I must say, yeah, the Amazon level got a lot of play out of me. It still does to this day. I love this game, but I'm completely inept when it comes to retro games. I mean, there's a difficulty curve that is not matched by anything currently available. These games were about basically dying until you memorized a pattern.
Yeah, I'll point it out later when we get to the level, there's this one part, even doing this playthrough, I died like 10 times. Stupid, falling in a pit, so...
Die, Devil Rays.
The goal, always when I was playing, was get your gun maxed out as quick as possible, and I used the punch sparingly, but I never really ran into ammo issues, but...
And that's another memory thing, knowing that poison, or that acid, is not lethal as you move through it to get the secret stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, this was before there was an internet, and before there were cheat codes. Like, where did one get information on this sort of stuff? You just sort of learn it from friends.
And Nintendo Power.
Yeah, Nintendo Power. We definitely had that. I think I still have it somewhere.
I'd love to read an article on this game in Nintendo Power.
I saw a few issues in New York, and I really wanted to get them. But they were just a little bit out of my budget, because they're kind of collectible now, and some guys sell them for like $20, $30. So...
Rob, if you're a fan of Range Viper, how does Raptor sit with you? I mean, you're sort of a latter-day G.I. Joe fan, so I mean, you must have been pretty young when Raptor was on pegs.
Yeah, well, I didn't see any of those. Yeah, I don't remember seeing any of those guys in store.
Oh, really?
But now I have no problem with any of the guys. The weirder, the better.
Yeah, that's how I feel. And this game definitely woke me up to Raptor as a character.
Well, it sort of imbues him with superhuman ability.
Yeah.
Sort of flies and has this very lethal bird. Yeah, once again, just showcasing everything that the figure came with as like part of their arsenal. Sure, the bird is your weapon. And it's Raptor's only weapon.
It's so cool to see like the decisions that you make with regards to like characters, because I will typically take all three and divvy up all of the upgrades and sort of do a slow build on guys. What I see is you've focused on Duke, and now you've got Blizzard leading the charge in the Battle Copter.
Nice.
nice find, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know why. We used to just always play. It was max out the gun, then move to the next guy, max out the gun. And I just stuck with it every time, so
it makes sense. That makes sense. It works. It's like, it does work. Wow.
Does anybody have love for the Battle Copter?
I don't have one, but I'd pick one up if I saw it.
Okay. And do you prefer the Cobra design or the G.I. Joe design? Because there's a subtle difference.
It's always Cobra for me.
Yeah. It kind of looks more aggressive. No, the G.I. Joe design with the sort of inverted tail, or not inverted tail, looks friendlier. I don't know. Maybe it's just an association I've always made, but like, yeah, the Cobra one is cooler. And it comes with that sweet, sweet interrogator. But here's your dude, Range Viper.
You're schooling him, hey?
Yeah, well done. That was very swiftly handled. But he had some moves. He was able to use rockets, grenades, and that sort of charge attack. Goodbye, Amazon. The Joes are ruthless. This cutscene demonstrates just like how ruthless.
Yeah, nuclear explosions every time.
Now, a nice touch with this playthrough is that you take time between levels, and we're going to see you restart the game, and then enter the password, which is such a thrill. I mean, count how many toys Taxan was able to fit into this game. It's a staggering amount.
Yeah, it's the only time you're going to get to see your Defiant, so I figured, I had to include this part.
Not only is
my
it...
MCC.
Yeah, not only the Defiant, but the MCC in the background, and the Defiant has the Crusader shuttle attached to it. So it was a toy that was perhaps still available at that stage.
Hey, out of interest, are you pulling your footage off a N.E.S, or are you playing it on some kind of ROM?
Yeah, I'm using a ROM to do the screen capture.
Oh yeah, it is easier.
I had to play it with a Super Nintendo controller, which was a little different. But I got the real game and my real Nintendo in the garage. But
cool.
in semi-working condition.
I love the intro to this ice level. Sorry, it's always very cool. This game is very cinematic for a NES game. It pulled off some very cool tricks. Like it's not even like graphic stuff. It's just style. Shows you, ladies and gentlemen, it's all about design.
And parallax. You reintroduced me to that term, Paul.
Parallax scrolling.
Yeah,
so
man.
sexy.
So simple but so effective. And gorgeous. I mean, you get an idea of the scale of this Cobra base. They're shooting like ICBMs to try and take out this lone Joe. It's so great. Are those missiles modeled off the Adder missile, perhaps?
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
They look like they might be based on a toy.
They actually look a little like the missiles on that other maroon vehicle. What's it? You've recently...
The Imp.
The Imp, yes, there we
Okay.
go.
Maybe. Oh man.
Sorry, Rob. You were saying
Yes.
that?
I was going to say, it's always interesting the character selections they picked, like the Toxo Viper, who shows up in quite a few levels in the snow.
And manning some kind of motorized weapon pack, if I'm not mistaken.
And then he kamikazes you afterwards. So.
Well, they are hazardous environment troopers. What could be more hazardous than doing a kamikaze run right into, I don't know, what is this fire part? I suppose it's like a flamethrower. I think somewhere I read that Blizzard fires some kind of flame weapon.
I think I said it in the front. I can't remember the distinction. I think his gun can like go through walls or something like that. And it's pretty. I don't like it very much, but.
Well, it's a nice touch that everyone has their signature weapon. They could have just contrad it, you know, just given different skins and everyone has the same basic abilities. But no, each Joe is unique, and as we see with Blizzard, he's got a dagger, and that's a nice touch.
I'll cut you.
Made quick work of that C-Ray as well.
Yeah.
Oh man, the toys. And the C-Ray is another example of a toy that wasn't available at this stage. So to those of us playing this video game without much history with the toy line, we were like, what is that? Where can I buy it? It was actually kind of cruel, really.
These bases, this color scheme, this like magenta and cyan, or it's more like a darker cyan, but whatever.
Paul, can you make me a wallpaper?
Yeah, I can happily make your wallpaper.
I want this skin to like sort of be the backing for my G.I. Joe shelves.
No, I think that's gonna happen, man. Yeah, because I mean, idea. I can block it. I've got all of the sprites. I've downloaded the sprite sheets from Sprites' resource and other similar sites.
It's such an attractive pairing of colors.
It really is.
Textures.
It's so 80s. It's so like when I say 80s, it's like the color that evokes that like retro 80s synthwave aesthetic.
Yep, you could totally hear it. And I mean, the music to accompany this is also so signature. It's no wonder that G.I. Joburg really embraced this as our kind of signature as well. It just evokes, even if you're not familiar with the game, it evokes the era. And the fact that it is linked to G.I. Joe is a cool Easter egg for those of you guys out there who have played this game a lot and listened to our podcast.
So when I was a kid, I still am a huge Snake Eyes fan, especially this Snake Eyes. So he would be the guy I would often level up the fastest. Maybe to my detriment as a kid when I was playing it, but like I used to spend so much time, getting his Hadouken. Right. He's just great, and I love that they put him in here, and he's not gimped. And he's awesome. I don't understand why they gimped him for the second G.I. Joe game. They really made him quite difficult to use.
Well, so that you, with Nintendo Power issues, could enter a code and have him from earlier on. It was sort of like a reward. Maybe that's part of the thinking. By that stage, like, it was so easy to hack these sort of systems.
I want to see if Rob knows about something in this level.
So I know what you're talking about. You'll see it. I remembered it at the end. So, a brief appearance, but
yeah, this is where I typically eject the cartridge, trying to
kill. I was
kill.
thinking, I was like, this part's harder than I remember. I was like, well, what did I used to do? There's no way I could beat that. As a young kid, and I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah, I admittedly only found the buzzball much later as an adult. So,
Oh yeah, there we go.
Yes.
And,
Nice.
and this would be
Short-lived.
my first introduction to the buzzball as well.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I didn't know it existed until I saw it in this game.
And most of the things in this game I didn't know existed until they were in here. I was in a comic reader, so
Yeah, he's gonna do it. I knew it.
So which do you
And
prefer
as-
between the Buzzball and the Battle Copter?
well, they're both nothing compared to the Pogo, which we'll see later. But,
Oh really? We have a Pogo fan in our midst. Very good.
oh yeah,
That makes two. Like, in the whole world. You and me.
going back to what you were saying earlier about the music. I was like, when I was first kind of messing around, seeing if there were any G.I. Joe podcasts around, I just downloaded a couple, and I think yours kicked off with this music. I was like, all right, I found the one I like in the story.
Welcome home, buddy. You're with kindred spirits here.
Oh, here we
This
go.
guy's actually kind of tough.
Yeah, old metalhead.
He's pretty
I mean, not
fleet-footed
metalhead.
for
Yeah,
an
metalhead.
anti-tank man. He's got the moves.
Yeah, Blizzard was almost dead. Snake Eyes almost dead. The one thing you never want to do in this game is die, because then all your guns go back a level. And
That's
Speaking of
very
guns, check out Gridiron's like quad missile launcher. I mean, yeah, no, that guy is not subtle. Nothing about him is subtle.
I think when they introduce it, it's called the football launcher or something like that.
my
It launches
goodness.
footballs.
Too cool, too cool. Yeah, I happen to own the toy. Paul doesn't. I think it's the
Yes.
one
That's the one I need.
one member of the infamous N.E.S. team that he still
yeah.
needs.
And then
Me,
I
I need the Jetpack Duke. I mean, Jetpack Hawk.
I had those both as kids. Well, my brother had them, and then the only guys I needed that version of Snake Eyes, and I needed Blizzard, and so I got those guys. Once I kind of started getting back into G.I. Joe stuff, but now I've got the whole team. I've got all the enemies too. I don't have the vehicles though.
Ah.
Well, maybe you should put it onto your priority list to get the playable vehicles, because you could probably get them dirt cheap. A Battle Copter, a Buzzball, and a Pogo. Nobody wants
I got
those.
Yeah, I have a Buzzbore. I got that for pretty good, but some of the the Condors still. That's pretty pricey.
Impressive.
So.
Yeah.
A lart.
I love that.
Yep. Chinglish.
Yeah, or
Japanese.
English.
Oh yeah, rock and roll enters the fray. Oh man, so
Yeah.
glad you selected him. It's time
It's like Pokemon. Choose your starter.
well,
Hey, into the source.
Rob had the right stuff. Like, get everyone's weapons sky high. And,
Now you're seeing the
rock
more-
and rolls is devastating.
Now you're starting to see the more sort of esoteric side of Cobra's operation. Bones and like horror, like imagery.
There's some like H.R. Giger going on here.
Yeah, definitely.
This level concept is ridiculous with the never-ending sewer, and then they throw a helicopter in it later. So
Yeah.
Well, it's the dinkiest helicopter of the lot. I guess that's where it really shines. If you haven't played this game, we're referring to the infamous Fang 2, which you'll see shortly.
The icon bounce. We've all done
Oh,
it.
man.
If you've played this game, you've done the icon bounce.
it makes me mad when you miss them, but
Yeah, it's that the little dance that you do.
All the Cobra units have their gimmick. Rock Vipers can suspend themselves and fire missiles. Night Vipers have this kind of disappearing act. We didn't remark on it, but they'll
Yeah.
be back. They'll be back.
It's one of the sexiest sprites in this game is the Night Viper. It's very distinct.
Jeez, Paul, I might have to get a top 3 out of you before we're done.
Yeah. And it's a good thing that we're watching this playthrough.
All sexy sprites. That's a podcast in and of itself.
Yeah. Oof. All the payload on this thing.
Who do you
here.
suppose is piloting this Fang 2? I mean, they don't
Probably
go
a
into
Heat
any...
Viper.
Yeah, well, no, then it would be a sort of a half mask. It looks almost like a Motor Viper was at the helm. Was.
But Snake Eyes made quick work of him.
Unlimited grenade.
I love that like the sewer is Snake Eyes' level. Oh!
Well, he is a Ninja Turtle after all.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think that was the whole sort of motif.
the old Royal Guard showing up.
And they showed some love for Cobra-La. You know, how can you hate on Cobra-La when the figure shows up in a video game? It gets harder. You can't hate on it.
Yeah, I got nothing but love for him, man. That movie was like one of my intros to the cartoon.
Thank you.
Oh, Rob, we're gonna be great mates.
Yeah, I dig Cobra-La, unashamedly. I like the idea of it. I like the idea of a Cobra cult.
I think I was the right age. I think I was about 4 or 5 when I watched the movie for the first time, and so it was very sinister. The whole mutating the human race, this was a lot darker than Sunbow typically got. You know, the scheme was, oh, let's make the Eiffel Tower disappear, or let's control the weather. Here it was like, seriously, it was like devolving every man, woman and child on the planet. Hardcore. Not to mention the very, very terrifying way they dealt with Cobra Commander.
You want to wake up as a clam or something? Yeah.
So yeah, it had like a macabre element that I really enjoyed.
I'm watching this and I'm like, I can't. There we go. I was like, I can never remember how to get that damn thing. And I was watching you do it and I'm like, he doesn't either.
Yeah.
Who is that guy clinging to the ceiling?
Yeah, it looks like a Toxo Viper to me.
Yeah. You see him again later, but he has like a ski on him with him or something strange like that.
It looked like he's holding a spear gun. That's what threw me off it being Toxo Viper.
Maybe it's a Star Viper.
Maybe it's an Undertow with like Hydro Viper's weapon. I don't know. It's a mystery to this day. But yeah, the helmet does make him look like a Toxo Viper, you're right.
Starts throwing grenades, yeah.
Ah, there we go, yeah.
Can't think of any other like obscenely helmeted Cobra troopers.
Obscene. Yeah, that is a pretty strange helmet.
Yeah, that's a very big, you know,
Bonds.
watermelon protection device.
So this is a big fault with the buzz bores. It can't blast through the breakable walls, so you gotta ditch it.
Oh, yeah.
Something that the Pogo can handle with ease.
Yeah, Pogo for the win.
Alright.
One
So
day-
we know that your top playable vehicle is the Pogo. Paul, would you agree? Or
It's difficult to say because I really like what the buzzball can do in terms of getting around places.
I really like what it adds to the Buzzbore's own mythology.
It makes it cooler.
Yeah, it doesn't dig through the ground. It's like a suction cup vehicle.
I think what this game does is it makes the Pogo so strong, you know, just to sort of offset its its maneuverability. Because
The only way they get people to use it, because it's so ridiculous, is to make it the best.
yeah, there you go. I certainly have trouble with the Battle Copter. I just find that you manage to navigate it quite well at one section. I often find that I just get stuck everywhere with it. It's that whole Ninja Turtles water level kind of pumping of the A button thing that you have to do. It's just
So I'm sitting in Paul's toy room at the moment, and tantalizingly out of reach right now is the Motorized Action Pack missile launcher. And if I had it in hand, I'd be able to compare it to the automated missile launchers that are on screen at the moment. Because are they based on the toy design? Or do the game designers just go like, whatever, just have to spit out missiles? I wonder.
I don't know. Those pop up in quite a few levels in this game, in different colors too. I think you get a gold one later.
Are you suggesting I try and sneak past the laptop, underneath my microphone, past my headphone cables, try and reach it in the cupboard? Oh man.
if only you were Shadowcat, you could just reach in there.
Phase.
Or the Flash, you could just vibrate
Just
through
like
it.
this buzzball seems to be phasing. So that was a Nintendo thing, that you'd lose your character sometimes. It kind of
It's also a frame rate thing, yeah. It's like for us, we would see it quite a bit in South Africa because we were running on a PAL setup, so we had a slower refresh rate, even if you were playing an NTSC game. So that would sometimes conflict with it. So aside from the original flicker you get anyway, it would be added to with the frame rate, and then also when you capture the footage, you have to capture it in such a way, so that it's
Faithfully reproduced in the emulation too.
Yeah.
Nice. Well done on that one. So this is fascinating. The only element of this that looks remotely based on a toy is the 3 claws. Kind of remind me of Interrogator's weapon.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. The missile launchers be damned. This thing is the game designers just taking a walk off the map.
I can't believe how many times that stupid thing killed me as a kid. That
And
was...
you've just been humbled by this foreigner, this Yank.
No, I had to I had to do it. You know, as an adult in my early 20s, I found a cartridge version of this game again, and I purchased it, and I was like, take that, train. You know, we're gonna do it because my friend Jeffrey always used to do the train section.
Train.
I always called it the train because.
I used to think that the bug was a train before I owned one.
Yeah.
All right.
Why is it moving so fast? You know, because you have to beat it on this kind of rail system. You're running after it.
I always and we'll get to the bug, but my brain can never reconcile with that being a bug because it was so small.
What?
Like, yeah, it's kind of small.
And I mean play mechanic, not game mechanic. The rail shooter style. You couldn't run
I can
after.
only assume these are Voltar's vultures.
A couple of levels too early though. Because the big bad on
Here
this
we go.
level is Overlord.
Yeah.
But I do have multiple Voltar vultures, so yeah, if they are like some kind of army builder, evil Cobra menace, I can live with that.
Attack bird.
Yeah, totally.
Wow.
So explain
Okay,
why
looks so
this
good.
thing owns, Rob.
It can pretty much go anywhere, and you can see the scope of destruction. It shoots every single way at the same time.
It's like the spread gun on Contra, except it can go through walls. In fact, it goes through
Yeah.
every single wall, not just the things you can jump through.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
I love the 2 little demon red eyes poking out from the driver.
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're just like there.
I'll have to check it when you commandeer
Oh,
one.
That
well,
happened so quickly, but you destroyed a night creeper. Oh, there he is.
Nice having that sort of stagger effect.
Love that they made it so ninja-esque. That's one thing about a Japanese game developer. If you give them any character that has sort of a ninja vibe to it, they definitely know how to take it to 11. You know, even with Snake Eyes later in the second G.I. Joe game as well.
And even with this appearance, I'm still not motivated to get an overlord and a dictator.
Yeah, I'm not overly excited.
I can still happily ignore that this figure ever happened. It's not a strong design.
I think what ruined it for me was JoeCon, because I saw one of these, the vehicle at JoeCon, and I was like, wow, no.
I definitely have one. My brother had one as a kid. It is what it is, but yeah, it's not really spectacular.
Yeah, sorry to riff on your
It's
vehicle.
like a Star Wars mini rig, you know. It is a kind of pint-sized vehicle. Well, fortunately, thanks to G.I. Joe's standards, it includes a figure, but the figure isn't good. The figure isn't a draw.
Oh no.
So
It's faithfully recreated in the game though, so there's that.
yeah, hide that figure away.
Yeah, first bump. Yep, out of the sewer. Oh, goodbye Lower Manhattan or wherever the heck you are.
Oh, cutscenes are great.
Where are we to next? Captain Gridiron level, right?
I think so, yeah, it's the Rockies or whatever it is. Well, I call it the Rockies, but I think it's just mountain.
Black Mesa or something, I don't know.
Hello, Mr. Freeman.
Ah, yes.
Oh man, I want to play this game now.
Sorry, Paul.
I'm always playing this game. It's
We
terrible.
robbed you of the, the
Of the
opportunity.
opportunity.
Oh, terrible, terrible.
I still think we could do something cool in the future with Range Viper Rob. I would, I think when I'm like super rich, I'm gonna try and find the arcade cabinet for this game.
Do we have an arcade cabinet?
Yeah, it's 4 players for the arcade. G.I.
Oh,
Joe game.
yes,
not
the
for
other
this
game.
game, but for
Sure.
the G.I. Joe the arcade game.
Hawk, you're a handsome fella.
So good looking. Wow.
and they keep him brunette, which is interesting. I mean, it's faithful to the toy, but they made Duke.
Just jump off the mountain.
In purple heels. Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure these are the alley vipers in here, but they don't really. Yeah.
Oh,
these
yeah,
guys.
little Fritz helm. Oh no, that's totally an alley viper there.
Yeah.
That dude's that couldn't be more alley viper if it tried. Ooh, that is a sexy sprite. Paul said it.
Vipers. Yeah, the alley vipers are cool. They only show up in this level, though, unfortunately.
I think there might be a smattering of them elsewhere, but they're decked out in gold elsewhere, which is true to the Sonic Fighters release, I guess.
For the vipers or the alley vipers?
Oh no, Vipers. Sorry, I might have misheard you, Rob. But the sprite work is great. You can tell instantly. Well, for the most part,
yeah.
you can tell instantly with about 99% of these characters who they are. And seeing the weapon work as well. The Royal Guards, I mean, yeah, that's an ingenious way of animating that rather awkward weapon that they came with.
This looks like a job for Pogo.
Totally.
Oh man, yeah, it's unstoppable.
Does it have a comparable jump to what Snake Eyes can do?
It can jump up higher than Snake Eyes.
Oh wow, great.
Yeah.
Well, that would make sense. Cobra Tech.
Oh yeah, I think it makes this boss pretty easy.
I love that you don't die by falling back from the screen. Like if you fall down beyond where you've kind of cleared the screen to. You know, by that I mean the waterfall level in Contra.
That's very much a Konami thing in my experience.
Punish you for actually advancing.
It's a Konami thing, and then it's copied by other developers who just don't get it quite right. I've got a Voltor in my eye.
It's strange seeing Voltor inside profile. It does kind of offer a very interesting...
It's a very strange silhouette.
Yeah.
So those guys are definitely Heat Vipers.
No, well...
Yeah. No, they...
No matter who says it's a missile launcher, it's definitely a flamethrower.
Yeah, which begs me to ask the question, like, the Incinerators came out in 1991. This game makes use of toys from 1991, like the Battle Copter. Why didn't they use Incinerator as a sprite instead of Heat Viper? I mean, they took the word heat quite literally and made that rocket launcher flamethrower.
It's possible that it offered a better silhouette because of the play feature. Because I think with the Incinerators they have that firebomb launcher. I can't imagine.
Well, you could have made it a fixed emplacement guy and
I suppose
a moving unit.
Or maybe somebody at Hasbro who was supervising the development of this, or like the developers themselves, they just really liked it.
Don't get me wrong, I really like the Heat Viper silhouette, but for those of you buying the toys domestically as this game was coming out, you pretty much couldn't get Heat Vipers by then, I'm sure.
No, I mean, I think this game was nostalgic even when I played it as a kid. I was like, oh, I remember having that toy.
Oh yeah. Well, making Duke front and center, I mean, in the early 90s, kind of Duke dropped away a bit.
I think when I played this for the first time, I had that that Duke that sits on the missile launcher.
Yeah, that's the only one I had as well.
Yeah.
Ride the rocket.
Rocket riding Duke. Oh, that's a terrible name for him. Yeah, let's keep it. Check those skulls. You know you're on like ominous mountain.
Yeah.
I dig this design though, like it kind of like the cave breaks away to sort of a blue. You know, it's like, where are we? Are we underground? We can't be underground. We're inside a mountain with like these kind of hangar bay doors, basically.
And some like metal plates from Mario 3.
Oh yes. Yeah, Paulie, can you make me a wallpaper of this as well? I mean, a physical wallpaper. I'd like to wallpaper my house with it.
These like little rocks with the skull motif, and yeah, man.
Just replicate the maze of this level.
Oh yeah, no,
Thank you.
This should be easy. Incidentally, I have a Sonic 3 poster. It's massive. It's I think it's A0 sized. I don't know what that is for American sizes, but it's really big. And it's got the whole game's levels sort of stitched together on the back of it. It was designed as a sort of, you know, like a guide to help you navigate the levels. And I just really love the level design. I've still got that poster. And I'm thinking I'm going to have to do something similar to that for Steve.
when you do see the Nintendo Power, they have like all these levels laid out as one big image, so you can kind of find your way through the mazes.
It's crazy.
I think that's kind of what you want as your wallpaper.
Yeah, I knew it was too good for me to have had the idea originally.
Yeah, it's a thing games magazines used to do, because...
Oh, really?
Yeah, because like when you do levels like this, you don't really draw them as you see them. It's like a guy sits there and he, you know, you got all of the things in the level assigned to codes, and you literally build a whole Word document, like an ASCII document with all of this stuff. And then when it's processed through the graphics chip on the card or whatever, it comes up looking like this. But when they're testing them and they're building them, I think Capcom and a few games I know when I did some sprite-based stuff for a studio, they had actually built their own little prototype thing where every time I could just drop my graphics into it, and I could just, like, it was like Minesweeper. I could like click on the little blocks and decide what numbers they were going to be, and then as I was fixing up the graphics, you could see it there. It was really cool. So I'm sure a lot of spriting guys use that, because you can't build something this... When I say can't, it's actually extremely tedious to actually sit in something like Photoshop and try to draw these levels.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know.
That's what I take from what you've just said.
Yeah, it's extremely tedious.
Me, I talk about toys.
I just like to keep it, you know, I wanted to add some kind of technical aspect.
Good man. Paulie. Is there anything that you don't do?
I don't sing.
Well.
I don't sing well.
That's not what I meant, man. I was like gonna back you up with like, I heard you sing. Anyway. Why sing when you can mix in some awesome vocals?
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
These Heat Viper sprites are also super sexy. Wow, this is very difficult.
And the way they move is tedious and slow, like lumbering, you know, it's got a great weight to it.
There better not be a better looking sprite in this game.
Your list's
I've
getting longer.
got my top 3 now, and now they're gonna have to start duking it out. Oh, Road Pig.
And caramel popcorn.
It's transitioned straight to the 90s here with the neon colors.
And the self-tan.
And you know, he's in both G.I. Joe games, which is pretty cool. Just got a different role. Like this one he's carrying his hammer, and the other one he's using it and kicking you.
Yeah, and he's a sort of recurring like mid-boss. Here he actually gets his kind of boss battle, hurling gigantic caramel
popcorn kernels, or for our American listeners, Cracker Jack. Super-sized Cracker Jacks.
Oh, this part, if about to get the Battle Copter, but if it dies, this is probably one of the most annoying levels because of the well, you'll see the rock vipers that knock you back.
Love me some rock vipers. I don't know if I asked you this yet already, Rob, but do you have a personal preference in terms of which Joe you like using? I mean, you've kept a pretty even keel with this long play, but if you know, who would you default to otherwise?
It used to be, it's typically Duke just because he's kind of all around balanced, but Rock and Roll's got the best gun. I think I use him for most of this and the next level because his gun is the only gun that shoots up and down.
That's what I wanted to hear, man. Yeah, no, he's a treat, and
but his jump is somewhat limiting. Yeah, like you'll see.
It's nice that they all have that cling onto the wall. You know? Even a guy like Rock and Roll who's packing that enormous piece of firepower, he can still like hold the wall with one hand. Nice.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the excuse why Samus couldn't hang off ledges in the original Metroid. The canon excuse is that her suit is actually too heavy for her to do it, apparently. Yeah. But here's Rock and Roll.
No, we switched out to Duke.
But I mean, here's Rock and Roll with 2 of those big horses strapped to him, and he's doing it.
I don't know, did you used to play with your 89 Rock and Roll with both miniguns, double miniguns?
Yeah, I mean, he's on my shelf now, representing.
I would only use one. I mean, then again, my classic Rock and Roll had a broken thumb.
I like how we say. I like how you say I used to play with mine. I used to play with David's like that, and we never had the ammo belt strapped in.
Ladies and gentlemen, Paul's invisible friend David.
I would get him on the show, but he's not PC.
Since when are we? Wow, Voltar goes down in record time. My goodness.
And his vulture just watches on. Hey, free food.
Wow, that's loyalty.
So those like laser beam things always reminded me of like Mega Man 2. I think it's Flashman level. Quickman. Yeah.
Quickman, yeah. Quickman, yeah. You have to use Flashman's power on Quickman's level. Yeah, that is, yeah. I just watched that battle now, and I also had a bit of that PTSD, because that is not fun.
Did I get the date stamp wrong on this game? Is it a 1990 release? Huh.
I think it might have said 91 on that.
The start menu, yeah. I thought I saw 1990. Well, it's anybody's guess, but there definitely are 1991 toys finding their way into it. General Hawk, for instance. That Hawk? Is he a 91, 90?
He's a 91.
I hope so.
Think.
Let us know in the comments below.
The wrong dude. Actually, wait. What is this? Have
and
we
he's
got
gone.
Guide?
Hawk is gone, guys.
Yeah, captured.
We're in trouble now. But it's rock and roll's level, and he is ready to dish out the punishment. Oh, Jesse Ventura style. Ain't got time to bleed.
Phantom X19. In the hizzy.
Oh man, for what limited cutscene work the Nintendo was capable of, this game does not hold back. I mean, it gives you exactly what you need to set the tone, set the scene.
Laser Vipers, sorry.
Hey, I can't figure, is this Big Bella?
Definitely not.
Oh man.
I'm gonna say yes.
Kicking like that?
Yes, I'm gonna say yes. It's Big Bella. The only other person I can think of it being is Copperhead, oddly enough.
Yeah.
Well, Python Copperhead was at least in recent memory.
This helicopter, if you ever get to see one in the flesh,
That's just Dominator.
Yeah, it's actually kind of cool.
You like it?
I don't hate it. I was worried it was gonna be super plasticky, but I'm
still not convinced, man. If there are pundits of Destro's Dominator out there, please let us know. Let us know its shining moments. For me, it's the novelty of a tank that is a helicopter. Like, that's pretty unique.
It was cool because it extends, the back like extends out when it goes into helicopter mode, and you can kind of fold the rotors back, but it was very, very fragile. And ours has like a ton of broken tabs on it.
Oh man, well, that's no good. I mean, just looking at the thing, I already kind of don't want to ever prioritize buying one. But now that I find out that in hand it's fragile as well, oh dear.
It's like hard to glue. You can't really repair it with glue because of the parts are moving parts. So unless you'd want it in permanent tank mode or permanent helicopter mode.
Oh, the bug is so sexy.
Yeah, let's give it a moment, guys. This vehicle is too cool.
You're trashing its butt, and now you've moved on. Now you've moved on to the midsection, and
fish out of water though. It is, of course, an aquatic vehicle, and it's in the desert. How do you get your head around that? I'd like to think maybe this is on the coast in the Gulf. You know, like, so it's desert mixed with the ocean.
Could it be the Destro?
Oh yes.
I think it's so cool that they took the time to actually put the Destro sprite in the level. The Destro logo icon.
The moniker thing in the background.
Because they didn't have to, you know, that could have been.
No, they did have to, man. You've got to distinguish Destro's forces from Cobra.
Well, that's the thing. I'm glad that they did that as opposed to lumping it in. Who do you think those are? I keep thinking those guys that are lying down are Croc Masters.
Could be. I mean, he's on his belly. I mean, isn't there something in his file card about he likes to kind of crawl around?
Yeah. He's not a standing guy.
Well, he just lies in shallow water. Well,
tickling the Croc's bumhole.
Does look like he's wearing a gimp mask, so yeah, that could be Croc Monster. He's showing a lot of bicep.
So this level, it's going to look like I knew my way around, but I definitely played it like 3 or 4 times after getting lost.
Shh, don't tell anyone. Oh, too late.
It's like, all of a sudden it takes me an hour to finish one level,
but as it should, man. I mean, this playthrough clocked in at just over an hour, but you kind of gave enough air to the password screen and stuff like that. But like, yeah, I'd say if you're at home enjoying this game, you should take your time with it. There's no problem dying a couple of times. I just hope it doesn't become a frustrating exercise. In which case, you've always got this recording to come back to and watch. You can have our annoying voices in your ears.
Something that you won't pick up if you play this game on a very nice monitor with an emulator or with a upscaler, like an HDMI upscaler or some kind of conversion technology. If you play this game on an original CRT monitor, you get this kind of color field effect in the background because it uses those pinstripes, and you get like different colors in your pinstripes, and it actually makes this level look more synthwave. It makes it look more, I don't know,
hallucinogenic.
Yeah, actually, it's like super trippy.
The walls are vibrating.
Yeah, and sometimes they get like hints of green and whatever in them. But that's also because the cones in your eyes are getting worn out because of the flicker rate.
Yeah, what did Mom and Dad used to say? You play too much of this stuff.
TV.
You get square eyes.
Yes, yeah.
Oh dear.
Oh, you'll get square eyes. Yeah. Mine was like, get out the way, you can't see the cricket.
That's baseball with a flat bat.
Yeah, and it takes way too long.
We gotta have tea time, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The British. It's a game for kings, right?
Wow, dude, you are like...
Yeah, smooth. Well done. Thank you. Paul's now switched his opinions. He's like, thank goodness we're watching your playthrough because this would have been pretty tedious.
Yeah, I back and forth a lot.
Yeah, this one definitely caused me a couple headaches. It's the next part I kept dying at, and so you have to replay this part
To get there.
You know, if yeah.
I like how you left the one check mark for one of the bombs behind. Presumably that's because that's the way out.
Yeah, it's on the way back.
Okay, so you almost left it as like a waypoint marker for yourself, like, I need to go through this area. Or maybe you just knew everything well enough by this point.
Couldn't spend the extra 1 second to go get it. It's like, I'll come back for it.
Nice. Yeah, I think we haven't really made mention of the fact that time does play a huge factor. I mean, as these types of missions, the bomb planting sort of mid stages, as you move further throughout the game, they become vaster, and that time really starts becoming a factor.
Yeah, and the difficulty spike with Destro's
units.
level is legendary.
So those sprites that you just broke, those boxes were reused, I think, in the Atlantis Factor, the second G.I. Joe Nintendo game, and they have a kind of a explosion effect that does damage to you. So when I first saw you breaking them, I was like, whoa,
yeah, what's he doing?
That's pretty reckless.
So,
fortunately, they just break apart.
Steve plays a lot of Atlantis Factor.
I happen to have the cartridge, so yeah, that is my go-to G.I. Joe video game fix.
That's one I have not played too much. I have it. I got the emulator now, but I haven't. Everything I read was like, oh, it's like the first one, but not as good. So that didn't sell me on it.
I wouldn't say that. It offers a different dynamic. I mean, okay, it's the same thing. It's a hide and seek game. You have to find things and fight bosses. I think the bosses in that game are very cruel because you really the boss itself is not that difficult, but getting to it with very good stats, that's where the sort of joy of the game comes in. It's like sort of nursing your characters up to that point. Cesspool is a very good example of a boss that's just not too difficult to beat, but getting to him is a real chore.
But Paul, if you have the laser, yowza, that weapon, I mean, like, yeah, the weapon upgrades in Atlantis Factor are ridiculous.
I'll have to give it a shot. I think when it came out when I was a kid, it was like the Super Nintendo had already come out, and so there's no one was going to get it.
I think the Super Nintendo was already out when this game was out. I
think Super Nintendo was 92, if I remember. At least that's when I got it.
Yeah.
This is some cool bit of design work that only comes up in Galobulus's level. I've always been fond of destructible environments, and you can see the origins of it were all the way back here.
And if you fall in the pit here, you definitely die. You don't go back.
Okay. Yeah, Haza, once again, quick work of a formidable boss.
Saved Hawk.
Thanks, man. I knew I could count on the Joe team for my rescue.
Sorry, I had to Yogi Bear it.
I love how his lips move. It's like...
So this is what I would say by far the hardest part of the game is this little mini escape level. You'll see I got a bunch of close calls with it'll be something that hits you and you're knocked backwards, kind of uncontrollably, and you fall right into a pit. So
I'm gonna cry.
Yeah. So this is probably the fifth or sixth try of this particular part.
Oh man.
No.
So we're watching all of the very happy accidents. Like anytime you got knocked back and you didn't fall into the hole,
Yeah.
that made the cut.
And some very cautious forward motion. Like,
Well, don't feel bad because Globulus is the one who's the real loser here. I mean, he's the easiest thing in the whole sort of level. Actually,
relegated to this like side boss, the Emperor of all Cobra, the creator.
He's crying. Yeah, he's crying in the corner. He's like,
Yeah, so all these guys, if you don't kind of wait for them and are patient, every time you jump is right when they shoot, and it's not fun.
Yeah, it's the I call it the kiddie catcher. I know it sounds really bad to say it that way, but
Terrible.
in Nintendo games, like your biggest like enemy is actually your impatience,
Yeah.
and kids by definition are impatient. They just like barrel through. So a lot of Nintendo hard comes from non-human patience, and so it's a kiddie trap. I mean, it's designed to trap you if you're impatient or if you.
Sort of like Mike Tyson's Punch Out is built on it.
Yeah. Oh, that game. Oof. We were playing Streets of Rage the last night, or the other night actually. Let's put it that way. And there's a guy that you fight in there, and he's so super Punch Out. Like I actually forgot he was in the game.
Yeah, like handlebar moustache. The physique that tapers towards his teeny tiny little toes. Big boxing gloves. Yeah, man.
This weapon that like shoots off these little balls, this little purple spinning
What
thing.
is that?
I don't know. I'm gonna guess it's a target.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Blink and you miss it.
Yay!
Paul's a big fan of the Despoiler. It's a mini vehicle that he just picked up at JoeCon, actually. No, at Kokomo
and
Toys.
Kokomo Toys, yeah.
Wow, goodbye, Destro. Oh, wait.
Oh, not yet.
Dude. Now it gets all Castlevania on you, sort of.
Yeah.
Wow.
This does not look easy at all.
Well, they kind of extend your jump. It's because it's moving. Everything is like heightened, so he can jump a lot farther than.
Yeah, I
When
see.
the screen
You
is
jump
not.
about half the screen's worth.
Yeah. There it goes.
But still, the timing is so crucial.
That messed me up so badly when I saw that the first time because I thought I died because those look like projectiles. When Destro dies,
Yeah, when he's
shoots
exploding.
out them balls, them incinerator launcher balls.
Nice. I like how you hold on the password screen nice and long for anybody out there wanting to jot them down.
X.
And this is, now Hawk is definitely the best character.
Sure.
It's a shame you only get to use him for the one level, but it's a really long level, so.
Well, bro, you'd be happy to note that he is probably your primary character in Atlantis Factor, so... Play on, Blair!
No jetpack though, man. That's.
Oh. I was trying to swing it in there. But, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, even without the jetpack, he's pretty formidable. I mean, he is your kind of everyman. He's your Duke of Atlantis Factor. Mm-hmm. Oh, but the sprites, that sort of character screen select, oh, that is cool.
Oh, reminds me of that dude's custom entry.
Yeah, shout out to one of the twin brothers. It's either Chad or Matt. The guy is responsible for G.I. Joe Review, the podcast that inspired us to make our podcast. He did a custom, I'll drop in a little insert maybe, at JoeCon of this figure, but like done in its NES color palette. Brilliant.
So this level has the worst introduction in the whole game, in my opinion. Yeah, you got the like sky storm and this little mountain, and it sort of like stops there, and then it goes okay, and then it carries on.
Well, come on, you can fill in the blanks. It's nice that they included a cutscene at all. I mean, it's taxing. What memory this?
It's taxing, is it?
Yeah, I like this level. It brings back a lot of the guys that you didn't get to see too often, like the Frag Viper and that Night Creeper.
They just throw everything at you in this level.
Yeah.
It's great to see how the Frag Viper works. If ever you were confused about that as a child, now you know that that's what the claw's for, actually. It's not for like eviscerating foes, it's for lobbing grenades.
Well, where I'm from, the sport of highlight is actually somewhat popular. So we all knew what they were immediately. So it's kind of funny.
What's the sport called? Highlight.
Highlight.
Highlight. Okay. I didn't know.
It's not spelt like that, but
on the file card you probably would pronounce it Jai-Alai. If you're familiar with the Frag Viper file card's reference to it.
Gee, that sounds like an Asian tea.
At this juncture, I'm gonna say that it is a huge embarrassment to me that I was never able to find Jai-Alai. Is it a lager, Rob?
Oh yeah. In Tennessee.
Yeah, man. I went to a couple of convenience stores, a couple of bottle stores, could not ever find it.
Yeah, we looked.
Yeah. They might make their way to South Africa one of these days.
We can only hope.
I'm fairly certain that they are like guys that have imported beers that we could find for it.
There's a lot of beer in this wide world.
Oh yeah. It's a good one, so if you do come across it, buy it in mass quantities.
Another one I had was like we had something called Youngling or something.
Yingling.
Yingling. There we go.
Yeah, that's like the oldest brewery in America.
Oh.
What? Cool.
Yeah.
So we were tasting history.
That was a great beer. I like that beer.
It's a good one as well. Here's
And then-
the all-powerful Pogo.
And then good old Pabst Blue.
Pass. Yeah, that's good if you don't have much money.
There you go.
Good budget.
Getting back to that cutscene, anybody else got any love for the Skystorm X-Wing helicopter? Paul shakes his head. I don't know if he wanted to put that on record in front of me, but no, Paul's not a fan.
Was searching around for the driver. He has got I think his pistol's like the coolest looking pistol that they've ever made. So.
Enormous revolver. It's a bit upscaled, but like it's certainly a unique piece. Yeah.
I just can't get over the plunger.
As a child, that gun, that revolver that Windmill comes with, was like that was just the elephant killer. I mean, you could take down, 5 guys in a row. You could take down a vehicle with that. It was just like, I think Rob gave it to Scoop at one point. So it was just like, yeah, who cares if a guy comes packed with a camera if he's got that revolver? It's the boom boom gun, baby.
Yeah, I think like the Terminator gun. That's what I.
Totally.
Frag Viper is one of my favorites, though. I think he was. I don't have as good a memory as you guys when it comes to buying toys as a kid, but I'm pretty sure he was one of my first, if not the first guy that I actually bought. I'd had a few guys from my brother got me at a garage sale.
Oh, nice.
One being Battle Armor Cobra Commander, which is probably my favorite of all time figure. It's also featured in this game.
Oh yeah, and how
Which
it's
helps.
the primary feature of this game, the last boss. Oh man.
Yeah.
And what's kind of cool is this game harmonizes, I think, a bit of. I mean, the comic book and the cartoon are at odds with one another, but this game finds a middle ground, I'd say. Or does it? It has Globulus. Oh dear. I think I've just contradicted myself. And also, they introduce Cobra Commander as a Snake Man. You'll see. Okay, I scratch that. Steven's an idiot. This purely takes off where the cartoon leaves off, and I'm in agreement with that. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I had a Frag Viper as a kid. I honestly couldn't tell you which part of the timeline I got him from, but I definitely lost him quite early on, or it broke, or... But, I mean, so much so that I don't even remember him having grenades.
Yeah, Rob, you said you got yours at a garage sale. I can't imagine he had the smaller accessories like the grenades.
No, Frag Viper I got at the store. Cobra Commander I got at the garage sale.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good.
Frag Viper, I still have all the grenades.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations, man.
Much to your dismay, I don't think I ever, or maybe rarely, played with my G.I. Joes outside. We always would build bases inside and have, bedroom floor battles.
You still
Rob,
build bases, so...
I think perhaps in my later collecting days, I mean, as an adult, I endeavored to take them outside, but like as a child, I played pretty gingerly as well. There are definitely two categories of kids: the kids who like burned through their toys, basically,
And literally.
and then they're the kids that became us. I think anyone listening to this commentary or listening to the podcast or watching the channel represent the guys who really loved their toys and took great care of them. That's why they've stood the test of time and to this day have such a lasting effect on us. I think now I'm trying to reconnect with that childhood desire to play. Perhaps play more robustly than I used to. Because it's a pretty unique place to hold in I suppose, G.I. Joe community. Like,
It's also nice now that, as a kid there was no real option to replace them, but now it's like, something goes wrong.
Yeah.
It's not fun to pay for a new one, but you can.
you can. Well, to a point, I'm wondering when we'll ever reach the sort of the ceiling of like, okay guys, that's it.
Oh, wow, he turned you into a dinosaur, a lizard. I don't recall seeing that.
Because you'd probably die shortly thereafter, right? I mean,
possible.
Rob's managed to turn into a reptile twice, and he's still kicking. Oh, and what's in the background? Anyone want to hazard a
Yeah, it
guess?
looks like some sort of plane, but I can't tell.
I'm fairly certain it's that Python Conquest.
Thank you. Did anyone give you a little hint in that regard, Paul?
Oh, maybe you may have mentioned that, like, I should look out for it.
Python Patrol Conquests have a cameo role in the final screen of this game. How cool is that? They're in the background. So clearly Cobra Commander was fighting you in a hangar. And I suppose the primary jet fighter in the Cobra ranks at that stage was still the Python Patrol Conquest.
Interesting words here. The world is now free from the tyranny of this group, which has been terrorizing the world for so many long years. It makes it seem like we've been living under Cobra's grip, as opposed to what Cobra actually is trying to get a grip onto the world. So I like that the video games sort of push that angle a little bit. At least to me, it's hinted that you're liberating the world from thingy. Ah, here we
Such
go.
a
Here's
nice
the rundown.
touch. Such a nice touch to give you a little.
Raptor.
I mean, just in case you weren't aware that this is actually a toy commercial,
Yeah.
buy all of these toys.
There we
There's
go.
a guy, yeah.
Yes, man.
Sweet.
Boom.
Sure. Got a good jump.
Cobra Sea-Ray.
Wouldn't it be cool if these were playable? Oh my word. It's something that I think I might have mentioned to you, Rob, that like my ultimate G.I. Joe game would just be building on this engine. Like, have more playable vehicles, more playable characters, more bases to obliterate. Because, let's face it, like, the joy of this game is the toy references.
Like a Metroidvania style G.I. Joe
I just
game.
want every toy, toy.
And I can't imagine it would be too hard for them just to build a little character sprite for 20 more guys and add a select screen and you're done.
If you could add to it a ongoing story, then it would be like, for retro gamers like us and fans of nostalgia and fans of G.I. Joe, it would be our ultimate gaming experience. I would just unwind to this for hours. Like, who can I play as now? What vehicle can I commandeer today? Like, oh, too cool.
AGPs are cool in real life. I like them. Yeah, I think they're very cool.
I still haven't been won over, but
It
maybe
looks
that'll
like the
change.
front of a bigger vehicle,
Yeah, that's
but I do dig it.
It looks like the head of like a mech. It's like flown off the mech, like the breakaway skateboard.
Also, I just wish it was a bit bigger in the game, because it actually is kind of biggish as a toy, like compared to like a Buzzball.
So, Paul, your top 3 enemy sprites.
Top 3 enemy sprites, starting with number 3, the Heat Viper.
Okay.
Because I thought they did a great job on him. Second place is gonna go to Frag Viper.
Mm-hmm.
And first place is gonna go to the Night Viper. Because the Night Viper just comes across so well. It's just excellently executed.
It has a nice feature.
Yeah.
Disappearing effect.
And it's well handled. The little snake turning into Cobra Commander.
It's a great touch. Guys, was that a Frag Viper in the cockpit of the Bug throwing the grenades? For the longest time, I've fought the notion and been like, no, it's a Alley Viper.
There's a Joe's. Who's that like? All like there's some very coquettish kind of poses here.
Some great butts.
Yeah.
Rock and Roll, Blizzard, Duke, Hawk, Snake Eyes, Gridiron. I think that's
nice.
Snake Eyes using a longsword.
Snake Eyes in this very seductive like pose. Hey baby. What is the second quest?
It is the same game with the bomb places have been moved, and I think you only get a team of 2 guys.
Okay. Well, I know what my second quest is at this point in time. After seeing Road Pig hurling those giant caramel popcorns,
Atlantis.
I think I might need to track down a bag of what we call them over here, Diddle Daddle.
Diddle Daddle.
Rob, it's been great fun doing this. Thank you so much for approaching G.I. Joburg with the idea. We've been wanting to do this for a long time, and you really were more than the straw that broke the camel's back. You were the camel. Thank you for the playthrough. I hope you viewers out there have enjoyed this bit of commentary. I hope we've inspired you to maybe pick up this game if you haven't already. If you're G.I. Joe fans and you're maybe toying with the idea of getting into retro gaming, this is absolutely, without fail, your point of departure.
And I would like to just say that I was hoping that I could sit here and have like some relatable moments of, oh yeah, I know how difficult that is, but Rob cut through this game like a hot knife through butter, and it was difficult for me to sort of reconcile moments where I was like, oh, I remember getting stuck there, but this time I was like, oh wow, he's doing it so easily. Just shut up, Paul. Just let him go through. It's a superb playthrough. If you're somebody who enjoys watching playthroughs, I think this is a great one, especially because I watch a lot of them. And it was fun, and it was cool to see this game shine. It's only now starting to catch on with a lot of the retro gaming collectors out there. I'm starting to find that this is finding its way into like top 10 or top 20 hidden gems of the NES generation.
Every single YouTube review that I have ever watched that mention this game, they say 2 things. It's underrated, and there's not a great deal of material out there on it. Well, we've just added one.
One really good one.
And hopefully added a bit more of the toy angle that other reviewers might be less well versed on. Rob, once again, thank you so much. Yo Joe, buddy.
Thank you guys, you're too kind.
Have yourself a good day, and we'll be back, hopefully, for Atlantis Factor. How about that?
Do 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 do.
Nice.